From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Our top story, Alaska State Troopers say a Fairbanks man died from gunshot wounds yesterday.
According to a release, troopers received a report around 3 p.m. that a shooting had occurred at a residence on the Old Elliott Highway.
That's right. 69-year-old James Jimmy Gojdix was found on scene suffering from gunshot wounds and was later pronounced dead at Fairbanks Memorial Hospital.
Troopers say they are investigating the case as a homicide.
And in other news this evening, Alaska State Troopers have confirmed that a woman's body was found in a wooded area off TVSA Way near Fairbanks yesterday. The remains were identified as those as 58-year-old Carolyn Page Debler of Nenana. Trooper spokesman Tim Despain said initial investigation revealed no apparent signs of foul play. Alcohol is suspected to be a factor in the death.
Alaska State Troopers have confirmed that human remains, which appear to be of a male, were found in the Chena River near mile 38 of Chena Hot Springs Road Saturday. The discovery was made by boaters. Due to the remoteness of the area, troopers had to return Sunday evening by helicopter to recover the body. No identification was found at the scene, and there wasn't any word on how long the remains had been there. The identity and the nature of the person's death are still under investigation.
Arctic Light Elementary School on Fort Wainwright was placed on full lockdown this afternoon. According to Fairbanks North Star Borough School District Public Relations Director Johanna Carson, the lockdown was due to an anonymous threatening phone call. Military police immediately reported to the school to inspect the grounds. Now, Public Information Officer Alan Shaw said parents of students were asked to go to the youth center for more information and to pick up their children. A 100% ID check was put into place during pickup. School officials say the circumstances that led to the lockdown are under investigation.
Since the students have to be moved from Arctic Light to another location, they're being loaded on buses by class, and attendance is being taken before they get on the bus. So let me make sure we account for all students. Would hesitate to give any indication of time because we're being careful that we're positively IDing all the parents that are coming in to pick up students, and we're doing this in an orderly fashion so everyone's accounted for. Our students, they're doing great. They're well behaved. They're responding to any staff members' directions. So, you know, for considering what's going on, things are going as good as they can.
School will resume as usual tomorrow morning with regular classes, buses running normally, and standard pickup and drop-off for parents of students.
Fairbanks North Star Borough Assembly members Diane Hutchison and Carl Castle have authorized an ordinance designed to limit locations where new sexually oriented businesses or SOBs may operate within the borough. The opening of Club Sin Rock last fall was the catalyst for the ordinance that will be taken up by the Planning Commission tomorrow night. The ordinance cites case law that supports the notion that SOBs negatively affect surrounding properties. The ordinance defines and allows new SOBs to be opened in light to heavy industrial use districts or under conditional use permits. The measure also sets buffer zones to keep new SOBs away from places like schools, churches, libraries, or residential areas. SOBs have a constitutional right to operate under free speech laws, and Castle says the ordinance better aligns borough code with that right. The ordinance does not seek to close SOBs currently operating within the borough.
They're grandfathered where they are, and so that as long as there's not a significant change to their operation, they certainly can continue where they are, which is appropriate, you know. I think it's also appropriate that we plan ahead and correct the code.
You can't just completely ban them because that is considered a freedom of speech issue. So the courts have ruled in different cases that a certain percentage of your land could be used for these things.
All right, when we come back, it's been 22 years since her death, but the Sophie Sergi case remains open. Tonight, we'll review the work that has gone into trying to solve that case.
Also, the 47th Annual Military Appreciation Banquet was Friday night. We'll tell you who won the prestigious Messer Award and about the surprise announcement that was made. These stories and more when we return.
Welcome back. Tonight, we take a look into the cold case murder of Sophie Sergi after the 22nd anniversary of her brutal death on campus. Stephanie Woodard reports.
It was a different age, too, back then. The visitor policy up at campus was a lot more open.
The year was 1993. Students were studying for finals, and some were throwing parties because they were over. Until a UAF janitorial staff member went to clean up the women's bathroom on the second floor of Bartlett Hall. 20-year-old Sophie Sergi had been raped and murdered. It's been 22 years since that day, and the case remains cold.
The saving grace in this case is that there was DNA evidence.
Over the years, several hundred people have been contacted and interviewed. I think we've run over 60 DNA examinations.
Despite the hundreds of hours spent on this case, each of the suspects have been cleared through the DNA matches. One thing detectives have confirmed is that Sergei's killer is known to be a man. And because of the lax environment at the university at the time, that isn't much to go on.
The DNA found at the crime scene belongs to a male.
Detectives have discussed the possibility of there being 2 crime scenes in the case.
There is some indication, according to investigators, that that might not have been where she was murdered. And that she might have been moved into the restroom.
Sophie Sergei's case has been one of contention for years because of its difficulty to solve, even with DNA evidence readily available. From the amount of unsupervised traffic at the time to the lack of security measures on campus, investigators say they've had their work cut out for them.
And when you figure Sophie was only there for 2 nights, and was killed on the last night she was there, it was just at the worst possible time in UAF course of business.
I'm Stephanie Woodard reporting. The Greater Fairbanks Chamber of Commerce hosted the largest annual interior military event that highlights the men and women serving our country. Ryan Grimes takes a look at the 47th Annual Military Appreciation Banquet and shares the latest news affecting Fort Wainwright and Eielson Air Force Base.
I don't do my job to gain appreciation or recognition, but it's always appreciated when a community like Fairbanks can say thank you to members of the military.
From fighting in high-stress conditions, preparing and securing installations, and even honoring those who have passed away, these several soldiers and airmen got the recognition they deserve at the 47th Annual Military Appreciation Banquet last Friday.
And the fact that it's with our community and we're so tight-knit between the civilian and military, it's awesome.
And I was like, it's a bit much for my personal preference, but it's much appreciated.
I was caught off guard. And as a matter of fact, I was taken back by the ceremony itself, the banquet, at how long it's been going on.
Air Force General Lori Robinson came to speak at the banquet. She commands U.S. Pacific Air Forces in Hawaii and Alaska. She says she's proud of the local airmen and soldiers doing their part.
And how they contribute to the fight each and every day, and the soldiers at Fort Wainwright and their families, and what they do to contribute to what we're doing here.
The highlight of the banquet, the Messer Award, was given to Fairbanks and Harry Cook for his service on military committees, boards, and groups in the interior. But that wasn't the only highlight. Senator Lisa Murkowski took the stage to announce the addition of 24 Apache helicopters to be stationed at Fort Wainwright in less than a year.
The first 17 or 18 of these Apaches will be here as early as September of this year. 24 should be in place by September of 16. 408 soldiers will staff the Apaches and then with their families.
Senator Dan Sullivan says the placing of the Apaches in Alaska is a critical military strategy.
We're a state that's obviously in the Asia Pacific. It's critical with regard to what's going on in Europe and Russia.
You think about the assets that come, the families that come, and then what we do as a community to support these soldiers and their families.
This is Ryan Grimes reporting.
Very good news for the interior.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Joe Cook is coming up with sports. He has your weekend recap, which includes the I-5 Interior Top 5 plays.
That's right. Joe Cook is next. Stay with us.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here this Monday night with your weekend recap in local sports. It's not how any defending champion wants to end their season in hopes of a repeat, but the Ice Dogs season ended in Game 3 of the Midwest Division Finals on Friday night at the Dipper. Fairbanks, they led 3-0 at the end of the first period, but the Minnesota Wilderness scored 6 unanswered goals to sweep the Ice Dogs with a 6-3 win. They advanced to the Robinson Cup semis. Fairbanks finished with 43 wins this season and consecutive Midwest Division titles. This year, Jesper Orval and Tyler Tomberlin excited us with 2 of the best goals you'll ever see. Charlon Mondry and Ryan Gorowski were all NAHL picks. Fairbanks won a number of division honors as well. Defenseman Johnny Mueller committed to Division I American International College of the Atlantic Hockey Conference early Friday. That means 12 Ice Dogs players have committed to colleges this year. Here's Ice Dogs head coach Trevor Stewart, who put the series and season in perspective.
Hats off to our guys. They faced everybody's best game every single night and found a way to win 40 games, which isn't an easy thing to do, and get a regular season championship. Found a way to win a series, and I believe 11 college commitments, and we just weren't good enough at the end of the year here, and it's unfortunate because we knew we can do better, and we lost to a very good team, and we wish them best of luck.
The first full interior track and field meet took place at Lathrop High School this past weekend. The weather was prime for a track meet for Interior Alaska. There hasn't been weather like this in a couple of years, and the kids took full advantage. West Valley won the girls division with 191 points. Colony, who brought up a full team, they were second, and Lathrop was third. Lathrop, they won the boys division, tallying 196 points. West Valley was second, and Colony finished third. In 1 through 3A, the Tri-Valley girls, they won, followed by Hutchinson. They were 4th and 5th overall. The Allison Ravens boys team, they won their division, followed by Monroe. For full results, visit the sports page on webcenter11.com. Saturday, one interior soccer team was left to try and prevent the South Anchorage Wolverines from sweeping local teams on their road trip. The North Pole boys, though, they lost 4-0 to the Wolverines. The undefeated North Pole girls, they faced South, the defending state champions, who beat West Valley 7-2 on Friday and beat previously unbeaten Lathrop 4-0 on Thursday. The Patriots fell behind early as the Wolverines scored twice in the first 10 minutes of the game. But Savannah Moyson put the pass on the board at the 54th minute. But South captain Kayla Sims, she scored twice in the second half to secure a 4-1 win. That was North Pole's first loss of the season. They are now 4-1-1. In high school softball, we start the recap with an interesting matchup that happened Friday night. Lathrop and Hutchinson battled in their first matchup of the season in a non-conference game. 3 former Malamutes transferred to Hutchinson, so these squads know each other pretty well. It was a close game throughout, but Lathrop's Jess Hall gets contact on a pitch from former Malamute Kimmy Duffield, and she was scoring inside the park home run to give Lathrop a 2-0 lead. There was a collision at first base. In this one, Hutchinson Sydney Jacobs, she would not return to the game, displaying some toughness there. Kelly Reagan was inside the circle for Lathrop, and the defense, they backed her up. Lathrop wins this one 3-0 on Friday night. In other softball games from over the weekend, West Valley, they went big over Lathrop 15-1 on Saturday. Autumn Hendry goes 2 for 3 with 2 ribbies and 3 runs scored. Kyra Loom went the distance with 7 Ks and 1 earned. West Valley still undefeated to start the year. North Pole, they swept Delta Junction on the road on Saturday, winning 13-0 and 14-7. Kennedy Shimura was a perfect 4 for 4 with 3 ribbies in game 1, and Beth Daly was 3 for 3 with 4 RBIs in game 2. And there were lots of nice plays after a full week of local sports action. We picked the best of the best for this week's I-5 Interior Top 5 plays.
Starting off at number 5, Braden DeWeese beats Monroe defenders to the ball, and he gets the angle and the goal, one of his 2 goals in a 5-0 win over the Rams on Wednesday. Number 4, Brandon Becker's RBI double against Delta Junction ignites 12 unanswered runs as the Patriots win 12-2 over the Huskies on Saturday. At number 3, Tyler Tomberlin of the Ice Dogs goes 5-hole, converting the penalty shot, giving Fairbanks a 3-0 lead in Game 3 on Friday night. That play came in a 6-3 loss to the Wilderness. At number 2, the West Valley Wolfpack sweep the 200-meter races in the first track and field meet of the year as sophomore Jenna DeFalco and junior Spencer Herron placed first for the pack. At number 1, one of the best clutch plays of the year, bottom of the 6th, full count and 2 outs, North Pole's Paige Shimura hits a walk-off 2-run inside the park home run to lift the Patriots to their first win of the season, 4-3 over Lathrop on Thursday. To vote for the play of the week, click on your play on the I-5 poll on webcenter11.com. You can also comment on the KTVF Facebook and YouTube posts, and send a tweet to KTVF11 Sports on Twitter for your vote. The play of the week will be revealed this Friday.
The I-5 Sports Report is brought to you by Adient Orthopedic Physical Therapy.
And that'll do it for sports tonight. Mike Schultz is next with your 4-weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into our Monday night Fairbanks Evening News edition of the weather. And I'll tell you what, you could not blame the weather if you did not have a great weekend this weekend, because it was just gorgeous. Temperatures in the low 60s, and we're looking at temperatures that could be near 70 degrees by this weekend. We'll tell you more about that good news in just a little bit. Our photograph tonight, a beautiful sunrise. Back to some more sunrises. This one's sent in by Stephen Jacobson. He was at the Birch Hill area and was able to capture the sun rising. Again, gorgeous colors like we always get with our sunrises here. And as always, if you have a photograph that you want to share, well, by all means, send it to me here at photos@ktbf11.com, and we'll share it with the rest of the audience. Your numbers look like this. Currently 61 degrees. That's our high today. The low last night, 36. Record high, not quite 70 degrees in 1907, and not quite 10 degrees for the record low in 1945. Sunrise and sunset. Exactly 17 hours and 30 minutes of daylight, a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. On our satellite and radar, a little bit of activity moving across the southwest portion of the state, but that's just about it. Nothing else going on. Some mid-level clouds moving across in the jet stream, and high pressure once again expected to build in. And when that happens, all that warm air comes rushing forward from the south and gives us the warm temperatures, and that's what it looks like it's going to happen by Wednesday, the way it looks right now. Across the rest of the state, almost 60 degrees in Juneau, and the same at Ketchikan. Nice day in Anchorage, partly cloudy skies. Only precipitation along the Aleutian chain, where Cold Bay had 43 degrees, a little shower activity. Over the southwest portion of the state, sunshine there too. And just some more scattered clouds around the Nome area, 37 degrees, not too bad. 21 at Barrow, but Fort Yukon, 55 degrees and partly cloudy skies, very nice. Lower 48 weather looks like this. We have a lot of showers and thunderstorms scattered across the southern half of the country. It's still warm out to the west, but not quite as warm as it was last week, 100-degree temperatures in Phoenix last week. Some showers also around the Seattle area, and a little bit of activity moving across the Minneapolis area. Over the eastern half of the country, more thunderstorms over the Florida and the southern sections of the country, and over the northeast. So quite a bit of activity going on. As you can see here on the satellite and radar, lots of afternoon popcorn thunderstorms, we call them here, although some of those are bringing some very heavy rainfall to much of Texas. In fact, our next graphic will show you that we're looking at a lot of flash flooding all the way from Colorado right on down to near the San Antonio area, and this is all moving very slowly, so a lot of flooding is expected. The overall outlook for the jet stream, well, when you get a big dip like this driving down to the south, that combined with the very hot and humid conditions out to the east, you're going to get a lot of clashing going on. That's exactly what's happening and expected to be happening later on this week, so we got to keep an eye on that. Back to Alaska for tomorrow. For the northern sections, partly cloudy skies at Barrow and Nome. A few rain showers possible in the Fort Yukon region. Over the interior, nice weather once again, mostly sunny skies in Fairbanks. There still might be some scattered rain and showers in the Healy and Delta Junction areas. Over the southeast, not too bad. Scattered clouds over the region from Juneau to Ketchikan, and temperatures once again in the low 60s. Over the southwest part of the state, we're looking at a little bit of a blackout. What happened here? Evidently, we've got some sort of a computer failure here, so we'll just kind of give you an idea of what's going on. Let's go to our kids' weather, because we've got a brand new kids' weather for this week. And our kids' weather we're going to is Joy Elementary School. Here's a young man with a story.
Last year, I was in Anchorage for the state baseball tournament. I was playing for Fairbanks North Star's 12-year-old team. Brian Shelley was the coach. It rained so hard that the umpire had to stop the game, and my team and the umpire stayed in the dugout. Then we had to put quick dry on the field and to soak up the water, but we still won the state championship.
That's interesting.
Well, the computer decided to have its own way with what's going on. It's real simple. The forecast is really easy. Lots of sunshine. In fact, temperatures, like I said earlier, near 70 degrees by this weekend.
I hollered at that one. I was pretty excited about that. And, hey, I have to let you know this.
Okay, what's that?
Stephanie Woodard, washed
your
my vehicle.
I didn't recognize it today. I looked for her car. She says her car's gone. Yeah. And I put two and two together and said, that's her car. I'll be darned.
Well, nice and clean. Nice and clean. And no rain forecasted.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, there we go.
It is going to be
fantastic. So it'll stay.
Everything's going to dry out. You know, I was in the woods this weekend taking care of some things. I didn't see one mosquito. It was amazing.
Well, I don't know where you were, because I was in my backyard and I saw a lot.
Well, you live near a swamp, so that's a good effect, I guess.
Right. All right. Thank you, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us. Now, before we leave you tonight, it's time for our Watch and Win contest.
That's right, Daryl. KTVF and Bailey's Furniture are teaming up for a Spring Dream giveaway, where you can win a furniture package from Bailey's valued at a whopping $2,500.
That's right, Stephanie. Tune into the Fairbanks Evening News and News Center Final on KTVF Channel 11 from April 30th, which was last week, to the 24th of May for the mystery word each night.
That's right, Mike. Then visit Bailey's Furniture for the second half and complete your entry for your chance to win. Now, this week's mystery word is rocking.
Like we do every night.
Rocking. Like
we're rocking here.
Newscast. That's right. All right, like we said, that'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, today, Carly Fiorina and Surgeon Ben Carson announced their presidential bids for 2016. That's up next with Lester Holt.
That's right, Mike. Join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
We all know each other's names real well.
From all of us here at the News Center, that's right. Have a good night.